Are we live? Okay, yep, looks like we're recording. Yeah, players are still loading in, but I went ahead and hit the recording button immediately just to make sure I didn't miss anything, because sometimes players are real quick on getting set up. I'll be honest, I don't know the format for this event, I don't remember, but I happen to be available to host, commentate, and record, so that's what we're doing. Looks like we have a team of Akuma, Rachel Alucard, and Remilka Valentine on one side by DT. Since I happen to be on this side of the table, that's the perspective we're going with right now. Adwins pulling out a team. Did I just see another Akuma? Are we going to have Akuma mirrors? That would be really funny. Looks like we probably have preset teams. I didn't see any drafting there, right? They already had these. Akuma, yep. Ragna, 357. Oh, is this and then May. Okay. Is this Magnum format? Akuma Ragna May. Akuma Rachel Ram. Cool. Alright, everything's good to go. It needs to assume I've got the input. Yeah, okay, looks good. Yep, they're setting up their selection bags so that they will be doing, we call this blind pick, because the idea is the opponent does not know which character you are going to run until you both simultaneously reveal. XC players do love that simultaneous reveal step, don't you know? So, yep, looks like GT has already chosen their lead. And Adwin's chosen theirs. Akuma and May. Alright, power all around. Not the Akuma mirror, at least not yet, but still should be a good time. Ooh, lucky card backs. Alright, Akuma, who I think is also known as Goki, though I could be a little bit off about that, I'm not the best in Street Fighter lore, from Capcom Street Fighter versus May from Guilty Gear Strive, the board game, by Arc System Works. Critical is a mechanic. Let's see if we got the card down here. There we go. Before setting your attack, you may spend 1 gauge. If you do, your attack is critical, and you resolve those effects. Otherwise, you just ignore them. So, Akuma can make any attack critical and say, alright, now we both have +2 power. This is very amusing in light of May's ability, which you can pay 1 force to gain +1 power for herself. So, potentially, you know, +3 if Akuma is feeling generous and has the gauge. Of course, what this often means is that Akuma does not use his ability unless he's very sure he's going to be hitting, and ideally hitting first, and hard enough to stun anything that matters. Akuma's printed power values are not too impressive, and his speed values are merely acceptable, but thanks to his ability, his actual power values can be completely insane, and his boost kit supplements this nicely with extra power and extra speed. Alright, coin toss is complete. Somebody decided to go first. I can't tell who, but presumably it was Adwins, since we are seeing May going first. May, well, what I'd like to think of as a rushdown character, and when that she has self-sustaining positioning, she tends to move in, push the opponent around, get them in the corner, move in, draw some cards, move in, push the opponent around, gain advantage, move in. Not what you would call a zoner. Does have an attack that hits at range 4 and another attack that hits at range 4, but is mostly going to be in range 1 to 3 where the normals shine, running good old-fashioned honest exceed mix-ups. Alright, first turn to May. Akuma also not a zoner. He does have a projectile, but just one, and although its stats are good, they're not extraordinary as projectiles go. Alright, May striking. Could be anything. Could be block, could be a dolphin, could be a different dolphin. Could be a seal. Arasugawa, I mean. And it's dive, a normal. Advance 3, 5 power, block over here. Going to pay 1 force per its effect, taking only 1 damage after applying the 4 armor total. 2 printed, 2 from the effect. Alright, May did not use her ability, so she only had 5 power. Math checks out. Akuma prepares. Turn passes back to May here at range 1. Alright, striking. Looks like no ability. Akuma debating a response. Healthy hand of 6 cards. May does have a pretty commanding mix-up here thanks to the presence of Overhead Kiss, which ensures that things like Focus and Sweep, traditionally safe, are not actually safe. So you can ignore Armor and Guard at speed 3. She could also simply be playing her own Sweep or Focus, knowing that Akuma is not very likely to critical on defense, because it's very risky. The answer to all of those threats is Hyakushu, but Hyakushu is only speed 4, meaning it will fall prey to Grasp, Assault, Totsugeki, the other Totsugeki, Cross, I guess. Probably not Cross. Could be Cross. What do I know? The reason I say it's probably not Cross is because May doesn't want to go to range 4, right? As we've established, she doesn't have a lot of range tools. But she does have Gauge, which means that if she does go to range, she can probably get back in without an issue. Akuma responds, no crit. Plays his own cross and is going to get caught. So hits for 3, retreats 2, and then May will close 1 and hit for 5, gaining an extra gauge on top. Undoubtedly a good strike for May. Akuma has 2 gauge, however. Still threatening in his own right. May at 3 is now able to exceed. Is also threatening her Ultra. Wait, they're both 3? Yeah, okay. Couldn't remember if one was 4. Ultras. Alright, plus 2 speed on Akuma's side. That obviously makes his ability more threatening, since plus 2 speed and plus 2 power is a nasty combination. May looks like, considering preparing, is instead going to exceed. Or change cards. What am I saying? I just, I've seen people play May before. I feel pretty confident this is an exceed. Hey, look at that. When you exceed, draw 2 and strike. Alright. Striking into that plus 2 speed boost. Run your own mix-up. Are you running something like Cross? Are you running something like Focus or Block? What do you think Akuma's going to do? Akuma almost certainly can guarantee that he's faster. The question is whether he can also simultaneously guarantee that he stuns whatever May is throwing out. And there's the critical. Both players have plus 2 power. It is Zugasatsu. That is not going to stun. That is a 7 power Zugasatsu thanks to that hit effect. 3 plus 2 plus 2, but due to crit. The opponent does have guards, so that's going to deal 5 damage. And then Akuma will take 6. Yep, 22 to 18. May draws a card. Alright, diffusing that speed boost. That gauge not particularly valuable for Akuma, since it means, or that critical not valuable for Akuma, since both players benefited from the power. He usually wants to use that when only he will benefit. Akuma prepares. Here at range 2, he has a DP, that is to say a reversal, a Dragon Punch. There's a lot of ways to refer to these cards, but basically it means something that is faster than the fastest normal at this range. Fastest normal at range 2 is Cross, Go's Shoryuken is speed 7. So Akuma is threatening a pretty strong defensive tool, besides the usual defensive tools of, for example, Focus. Alright, Akuma preparing, holding a hand of 6 cards, May with 5 cards, has not used her ability yet, but has done pretty well in every strike, trading up steadily. Can she continue to exert enough pressure to rush Akuma down before he gets ridiculous stats online? We'll find out. Tune in this time. False defense. Do we see a cancel? We do. Alright, canceling is the Guilty Gear mechanic. I forgot to mention that. After resolving a boost that has that icon just above the boost name, the little clock with a gauge icon, you may spend 1 gauge if you do take another action. That action is going to be a strike, and we just saw a force get paid for her ability. So this is plus 2 power, plus 4 guard striking. Okay. What is Akuma going to do in response? As always, it's a mix-up. I think there are a few things Akuma could run that would be very likely to defuse the mix-up, but the ones that I'm thinking of that are the most reliable require him to be holding an EX in hand. And part of the point of being a rushdown character like Mei is that you can press the offense before your opponent has time to draw into their EXs, draw through their deck, and otherwise filter out a hand that wins. You want to throw cards at them until they die, before they get cards of their own. Alright, Akuma has been preparing, which means he's been kind of falling behind in board state, but he has a full hand of options. How do we do? It's block. Okay, that's going to be an 8-power Mr. Dolphin. Close 2. Only closes 1 space, which means that's plus 2 power from the effect, plus 2 power from the ability. Block is able to safely disregard this damage at the cost of cards from hands. Alright, currently paying 1 force, 2 force. That's 6 armor total. A little surprised to see the Demon Illusion drop. I often see this boost get played right after a bunch of forces paid. Alright, no damage taken. Akuma's hand is nearly emptied, but presumably he kept the most important cards in it. Made it not gain advantage, so it's back to Akuma's turn. Both players very thin on resources. Akuma now with enough gauge to exceed if he wants to. Looks like he's going to prepare. Might be holding that 3 just in case he wants to actually play Demon Armageddon. Excuse me, Wrath the Raging Demon. This one. Nope, that is an exceed. Okay, pays 2 gauge, flips the character. Alright, the reason I said he had enough to exceed at 3 gauge instead of 2 is because since his ability was only related to criticals, there's very little point in exceeding at 2 gauge because, well, then you don't have any gauge and you can't use your ability. But now he has the ability to give both players plus 3 power. Pretty horrifying, actually. Mei boosting power and guard. Okay. Getting ready to make it harder for Akuma to stun her. By the by, that plus guard on the previous attack was very much not safe against any form of fast critical, but Akuma would have to take a significant risk to do that. Since if he walked into something like a sweeper focus, it would have just hurt more and cost gauge. Alright, Akuma boosting speed, plus 1 speed, and hit at this gauge. Plus speed on this side, plus power and guard on this side. We have an asymmetric boost for my favorite kinds. This is pretty dangerous because Akuma with plus speed can also have plus 3 power at will at the cost of a gauge. And depending on what he plays, that might let him do something just absolutely horrifying. Having guard up in advance does mean it's not likely that he can set up something that is guaranteed, but he can play cheeky things and be likelier to get away with it. The typical play I would expect here would be Hakushu, speed 4 printed, with after attacks at range 1 don't hit you. Here's the Demon Illusion, okay. Paying how much? Only 2. Going to go to a full hand, but not overdraw. I wonder if he already has the X's that he wants. Let me get a look at Hyakushu for you. There you go. After for the rest of the strike attacks at range 1 don't hit you. That's what I kind of expect when your opponent is building up defenses and you're building up speed, because it, in many board states, just says, okay, you can't hit me. Like, I will get my value out of this strike. Not guaranteed to win by any means. Certainly would lose to a grasp or a cross here. We know one of each of the... No, I believe 1 grasp and 2 crosses are left in Mei's deck, although I haven't exactly been counting. That's just my recollection offhand. Alright, Mei's turn. Akuma with plus 1 speed, plus 1 power, and maybe plus 3 power if he wants. Mei with plus 1 power, plus 4 guard, and maybe plus 2 power if she wants. Lots of power. I think the game is probably more than half over, despite these life totals. Oh boy, your attack is EX, and cancel, and strike, and wait for it. Okay, deciding what to spend. This is important. If you're aware of what's down, then you know that what you spend is going to inform your opponent of what you have left. Okay, slash. So notably, this probably isn't slash, or at least the telegraph is that this is not slash, because if EX slash was in hand, you probably would just play EX slash. But yes, so we're paying for abilities. So this is plus 4 power, plus 1 speed, plus 5 guard. Oh, and plus 1 armor, I believe. Alright, we have a grasp, and we have an anchor swing. Alright, well the grasp hits, but is not going to stun or even close. That's 4 power over 1 armor, deals 3 damage, puts Mei at 19. Mei is then going to close back in and hit for many. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9. puts Akuma at 7 and gets an extra gauge. Yeah, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. Alright. Looks like that extra gauge was Arasugawa Sparkle. Unfortunate because Go is a nice reload, but we don't know what the shape of her hand right now is. Alright, she's at 19. Akuma is still perfectly capable of killing her in 2 or 3 strikes at most. 3 at most, I think. Alright. Okay, this is plus 3 speed and plus 3 power, but he's going to be critically in his next attack, almost certainly. Typically, if you have a boost that says discard a boost from play, this is what you save it for, so May's been holding that, and there it is. Discarding continuous boost from play, are we canceling? We are. She will take another action. What's that action? Oh my. Disaster of Passion, plus 1 power, plus 1 speed, now draw 1. Take away Akuma's edge in the boost for her, and then gain her own. This is really, really scary for Akuma. I believe we know that one dive is down on Akuma's side, which is where his discarding continuous boost from play boost is located. His does not have the cancelable icon, as he isn't from a season that uses cancels. Okay. Boosting Fake Out. Strike the opponent sets first, but Akuma wins speed ties. And after that, the Sphere Gauge. So he definitely doesn't want to get stuns, because he wants to get benefit from this after effect. The opponent setting first means that Akuma... means that the opponent doesn't know whether or not Akuma is going to use his ability to make his attack critical and give both players power. That's a wild swing. Akuma probably going to critical this, especially if he has like Goshiyukin in play. That's Goshiyukin, and that's Dust, which is going to get stunned, because this is a 6 power Goshiyukin. Yep, Akuma closes, hits, pushes, deals 6, which stuns Dust. Akuma gets his gauge back from Fake Outs. There we go. And it is now May's turn. Alright, well that's one of the 3 hits that I mentioned. It is now May's turn. Alright. Gatling. Draw 2, plus 1 for end of turn, and advantage on the next attack. Rebuilding a hand of options. Potentially setting up a combo chain, as it were. Akuma, however, given back the turn, can probably do something to disrupt this with his own set of boosts. He does not have cancel, but he does have very potent stat boost, as we've seen. Plus power, plus speed all over the place. He also could simply initiate, which gives him a speed edge, since the initiator wins speed ties. Akuma searching that discard pile to get a sense of what May's current options are. Discard piles are open information for all players at all times. Strike, and... is that a critical? That looks like a critical to me. That implies, based on the way that Akuma's been playing, that this is on curve, meaning it is as fast as the fastest normal at this range. So, suggesting that it is Assault. I believe that is his only option here. He could, of course, be playing something else to try to get more damage in, since Assault is also, I believe, the lowest power attack he has that could hit at this range. That might not be strictly true. It is equal to the lowest power attack. Yeah. Alright, May's response. It's Spike, it's Cross. Okay. It was Spike for extra damage, and she crossed out, believing that it was something she didn't want to deal with, that's for sure. At the very least, she didn't think it was the projectile, because that would have caught her. Oh, right, both projectiles are down. That would be a good reason to think it's not the projectile. Alright, here at range 6, it is May's turn. Neither player is especially comfortable at this range. Normally, Akuma would be more comfortable, but I believe we have seen both copies of his projectile down, which means that she has a little time to build up as she sees fit. Boosting Let's Rock is a little bit interesting, since she can't hit at this range, but Akuma does not decide to defuse it. He simply prepares, choosing to build his own resources. May now has even more power, so if she's able to move back in with a cancelable boost, she could then strike to take advantage of her own boost. Or neutral could continue. Right now we are decidedly in neutral. It could turn into pressure at a moment's notice thanks to Guilty Gear Strive characters having access to cancelable boosts that change the board state. Neutral is the state of the game in which neither player is at an advantage. That is definitely true here. Neither player can hit at this range, and nobody has a overwhelming advantage in any way. Boosting Scramble. Canceling? Oh! And then boosting Charge, which is not a cancelable boost, but it is one that does let you strike. Close 3, pay a force. Alright, that's the second cross to strike, and are we going to see the ability come out? Yep, that's +1, or +2 power, and Akuma must Wild Swing. Does he wish to critical? Almost certainly not. That would give her even more power, and his odds aren't great. That said, if he believes that this will simply kill him, which it might, because it has +3 power, then he may as well risk it. Both blocks being down much earlier does mean that he's not likely to have a good way to survive this if it's on curve. If it's under curve, then he could certainly have his own on-curve responses, especially if he has Assault, I believe. Yeah, Assault is the thing he needs, which I think he has one left. Tatsu is speed 4, this is speed 5, that is 7 power, that's game. Alright. Yep, the focuses in hand would have been able to respond to that, which was why we saw the scramble come out. Alright, May wins game 1, splitting recording.